The US is now cancelling trade talks with Canada. Why? Because of an ad. US President Donald Trump announced that he is immediately ending trade talks with Canada. President Trump accused Canada of egregious behavior. The trade talks with Canada were terminated as Trump accused Ottawa of falsely quoting Reagan in an ad campaign aimed at criticizing US tariffs. Trump said the ad misrepresented former US President Ronald Reagan. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said,
"The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75 million. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the US Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter."
The Reagan ad controversy stems from an anti-tariff advertisement issued in Ontario. The ad featured excerpts from a 1987 radio address by former US President Ronald Reagan. The ad campaign was announced by Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Announcing the campaign, he said,
"I'm a big Ronald Reagan fan. We're going to launch a $75 million ad, and we're going to repeat that message to every Republican district there is, right across the entire country."
Talking about the controversial ad, it's a 1-minute ad which referenced Reagan's remarks during a trade dispute with Japan over semiconductors, where he justified imposing 100% tariffs on Japanese electronics. However, the advertisement also included Reagan's warnings about the long-term consequences of high tariffs.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs.
The ad was broadcast on Newsmax and Bloomberg. So where is the controversy? The controversy lies in Donald Trump's accusation towards Canada that Ronald Reagan's words were falsely quoted and were aimed at criticizing US tariffs. Interestingly, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation Plus Institute also reacted to the ad campaign. In response to the ad created by the government of Ontario, it said, "Misrepresents the presidential radio address to the nation on free and fair trade dated April 25, 1987. It added that Ontario did not receive Foundation permission to use and edit the remarks. Now, eventually, the ad has resulted in escalated tensions between America and Canada. So how does Trump's decision to cancel trade talks can impact US trade dynamics? Let's take a look. The US-Canada trade relationship, once defined by close economic ties and mutual dependence, has turned into a battlefield of tariffs and retaliation since 2023. President Donald Trump's administration imposed 25% tariffs on Canadian goods, including a 10% duty on energy products, prompting Canada to strike back with its own countermeasures, such as a 50% tariff on steel imports. Despite that, more than 3/4 of Canadian exports go to the US, and nearly $2.7 billion worth of goods and services cross the border daily. Most recently, in 2024, Canada was the top destination for US exports and the third largest source of US imports. America's leading exports to Canada are vehicles, machinery, and energy products, together with over $30 billion in agricultural products, including bakery, goods, cereals and pasta, fresh vegetables and fruit, and ethanol. While Canada's leading exports to the United States are energy products and vehicles, together with over $40 billion in agricultural products, including baked goods, cereals and pasta, vegetable oils, beef and beef products, processed fruit and vegetables, and fresh vegetables. Apparently, Canadian PM Mark Carney also met with President Trump earlier this month in an effort to ease trade tensions. This comes as the US, Canada, and Mexico are due to review their 2020 Continental Free Trade Agreement next year. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, which entered into force on 1st of July 2020, replaced the North America Free Trade Agreement. The agreement undergirds nearly $2 trillion in US goods and services trade with the region, with comprehensive rules that are subject to dispute settlement. Trump's latest move to halt trade talks underscores ongoing disputes over tariffs and their broader implications for the US-Canada economic relations. So what is your opinion on the whole matter? Share with us in the comment section below.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.